The studio lights glowed softly as the audience settled into their seats, buzzing with excitement. It was just another taping day for the Kelly Clarkson show, but the energy felt slightly different, charged, almost electric. Word had spread quickly that today's guest was Prince Harry, a figure who always carried both admiration and controversy wherever he went. Backstage, Kelly Clarkson stood near her dressing room, flipping through her cue cards. She had interviewed countless celebrities, politicians, and public figures, but this one felt delicate. Prince Harry wasn't just another guest, he was someone whose life had been dissected by the media, whose words often sparked global conversations. "Just be yourself," her producer reminded her. "That's what people love." Kelly nodded, taking a deep breath. She wasn't known for confrontation. Her charm came from warmth, humor, and authenticity, but she also wasn't afraid to ask real questions. Meanwhile, down the hall, Prince Harry adjusted his jacket, his expression calm but guarded. He had done many interviews in recent years, each one bringing both support and criticism. He knew the stakes. Every word mattered. When the show began, the audience erupted in applause as Kelly walked onto the stage, her signature smile lighting up the room. After a short monologue filled with jokes and laughter, she introduced her guest. "And now please welcome Prince Harry." The applause grew louder as Harry stepped out, waving politely. He smiled, but there was a subtle tension in his posture, something only a careful observer might notice. They greeted each other warmly and took their seats. At first, everything went smoothly. Kelly asked about his recent projects, his family life, and his advocacy work. Harry responded thoughtfully, speaking about mental health, charity, and his desire to create a better future. The audience listened intently, occasionally clapping at his remarks. It felt like a typical successful interview. But then the tone began to shift. Kelly glanced at her next card, hesitating for just a second before speaking. "You've been very open about your experiences with the royal family and the media," she began gently. "Do you ever feel like sharing so much publicly has made things harder, rather than easier?" The question hung in the air. Harry's expression changed, just slightly, but enough to be noticeable. He leaned back in his chair, his fingers interlocking as he considered his response. "I think," he said slowly, "that speaking the truth is never easy. But silence can be even more damaging." Kelly nodded, but she didn't move on. "Of course," she said. "But some critics say that these revelations have deepened divisions within your family. Do you worry about that impact?" A murmur rippled through the audience. Harry's jaw tightened. "With respect," he replied, his voice still calm but firmer now. "Those critics don't understand the reality of what we've experienced." Kelly sensed the shift immediately. She maintained her composure, but her tone became more careful. "I understand that," she said. "I'm just trying to explore both sides because a lot of people are curious." Harry leaned forward slightly. "Curiosity is one thing," he said, "but there's also a responsibility in how stories are told and questions are framed." The air in the studio grew heavier. Kelly wasn't used to this kind of pushback on her show. She was known for keeping things light, even when discussing serious topics. But she also wasn't going to back down completely. "I respect that," she replied, her voice steady. "But part of my job is to ask the questions people are thinking." Harry gave a small, tight smile. "And part of my job," he said, "is to decide which questions deserve answers." The audience fell silent. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The tension was palpable now, no longer hidden beneath polite smiles. Kelly shifted in her seat. "All right," she said, trying to lighten the mood. "Let's talk about something a bit more uplifting. You've been working on several charitable initiatives." But Harry interrupted, not rudely but firmly. "I think what just happened is important," he said, "because it reflects a larger issue." The producers backstage exchanged nervous glances. Harry continued, "There's a pattern of focusing on conflict rather than solutions, on drama rather than progress, and it's exhausting." Kelly's expression hardened slightly, not in anger but in resolve. "I hear you," she said, "but this isn't about creating drama. It's about having honest conversations." "And honesty," Harry replied, "goes both ways." The audience could feel the clash now. Two strong personalities, Both used to being heard, neither willing to fully yield. Kelly took a breath. "Let me ask you this," she said. "Do you think there's ever a point where sharing personal struggles publicly can cross a line?" Harry's eyes locked onto hers. "Do you think there's a point where asking about those struggles can cross a line?" The question hit harder than anything before it. For a second, Kelly was silent. The room felt frozen. "I think," she finally said, "that intention matters. And my intention is never to hurt, it's to understand." Harry nodded slowly, but his expression didn't soften. "And my intention," he said, "is to protect what matters most." There was a long pause. From backstage, a producer signaled to wrap things up. The segment had gone off script, and the tension was becoming too intense for daytime television. Kelly glanced toward the cameras, then back at Harry. "Well," she said, forcing a small smile, "this has certainly been a memorable conversation." A few nervous laughs came from the audience, but Harry didn't smile. He stood up abruptly. "I think we're done here," he said. The words echoed through the studio. Kelly blinked, caught off guard. "We still have a few minutes." "I don't," Harry interrupted. Gasps rippled through the audience as he removed his microphone. A crew member rushed forward, unsure whether to intervene. "Thank you," Harry added briefly, though his tone was distant. And with that, he turned and walked off the stage. The room erupted, not in applause, but in confusion. Some audience members whispered, others simply stared. Kelly remained seated for a moment, processing what had just happened. This wasn't how her show worked. Guests didn't walk out, but she quickly regained her composure. Standing up, she faced the audience with a professional smile. "Well," she said, exhaling softly, "that was unexpected." A few scattered laughs broke the tension. "Live television, right?" she added. The show cut to an early commercial break. Backstage, the atmosphere was chaotic. Producers spoke in hushed but urgent tones, trying to figure out how to handle the situation. Publicists were already on their phones, anticipating the headlines that would explode within hours. Kelly walked off stage, her expression calm but thoughtful. She wasn't angry, just surprised, and maybe deep down a little disappointed. Harry, meanwhile, was already in his dressing room pacing. His team surrounded him, discussing next steps. He had faced criticism before, but this felt different. This wasn't a hostile interview, but it had crossed into territory. He wasn't willing to entertain. Within minutes, the incident began to spread online. Clips of the exchange appeared on social media, sparking debates. Some viewers supported Kelly, praising her for asking tough questions. Others sided with Harry, arguing that he had every right to set boundaries. By the time the show resumed, the mood had shifted completely. Kelly returned to the stage, her professionalism intact. She moved on to the next segment, but the earlier moment lingered in everyone's minds. It wasn't just another interview anymore. It was a clash, one that would be talked about long after the cameras stopped rolling, and somewhere in the quiet after the storm. Both Kelly Clarkson and Prince Harry were left reflecting on the same question. Where is the line between honesty and intrusion? And who gets to decide when it's been crossed?